Access Corporation, in cooperation with Cablevision in Geauga County and Continental Cablevision in Clyde, proudly presents the 1995 Ohio High School Division III Football State Championship game between the Kenston Blue Bombers and the Clyde Flyers. A pleasant good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen, from Paul Brown Tiger Stadium in Massillon. I'm Andy Sevchik, along with my colleague Jeff Cole. And Jeff, this is what it's all about in high school. There's no tomorrow for either of these teams, and what a better matchup we could have than Clyde and Kenston.
Yeah, you erase all the records. They're both 12-1. You erase that, it comes down to one game. Mike Knepp comes in with a Cinderella story, only in his second head coaching year at Kenston. He brings the Bombers in. The last time they were here were back in '86 when they lost to Cape by the score of 7-6. But Andy, it's not going to be smooth sailing today. He faces a very tough Clyde team.
Well, Clyde comes in with a 12-1 record, co-champs of the Sandusky Bay Conference, coached by Bob Bishop in his 10th year out of Heidelberg College with a wonderful record of 68-39. They lost last year here to West Branch in the state final, 28-11. They're quarterbacked by Mark Durlam, a 6-foot, 70-pound senior quarterback who completes 53% of his passes and has thrown for 16 touchdowns. Running the ball, though, is their forte. They've got two big backs, Justin Shagnon, who was a 1994 Division II state wrestling champ. He's rushed for 800 yards and 7 TDs during the regular season. And their big man, go-to man, Chad Long, wears number 1. He's a 1,000-yard rusher, and he's only a junior. He scored 10 touchdowns, an excellent 1-2 punch running the ball.
You know, that's a very impressive offense, but you can't sneeze at Kenston's either. They're led once again by Andy Rule, who, if you watched our Kenston games the last 3 weeks, has run up and down the field. He has over 1,000 yards, but he runs behind some very big people in Tyson Walter, and he has some help up behind him with Mark Liebert, who likes to throw the Ryan Noble. But, of course, what Kenston is known for the whole year is their defense. They're led by John Werby, who is the Division III Player of the Year. He's also a wrestler. And also back there is Mark Kotzman, two of the big people. Kenston, they're going to need their defense today.
Well, defensively, too, for Clyde, they're led by Ryan Carter, who led the team with 3 interceptions. Also, Chad Long was an all-state selection at the Division III level. He's a junior, again, as we mentioned, at the safety spot. The keys to the game for Clyde, I think they're going to need to control and neutralize the line of scrimmage against the big people of Kenston. They got to take away the big first-down runs by the Kenston Bombers. And then I think offensively, they're going to have to widen the field, maybe throw some screen passes or little fade-outs over the top of the linebackers. For Kenston, Jeff, your thoughts?
Well, you said it obvious. They have to control the line of scrimmage, and the way they do that is with their size. They do have the little bit in their favor here tonight or this afternoon. They also have to take away Clyde's passing game. I give the nod at size once again to Kenston, but either way, Andy, the weather's great for once compared to the last 4 weeks. Should be a fun afternoon.
Well, temperatures in the mid-50s, the wind about 15 to 20 out of the west. Jeff and I will be back with the kickoff of the Division III State Championship game in just a moment. Back at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium, Andy Sevchik along with Jeff Cole, and you are watching the Division III High School Championship football game between Kenston and Clyde, and today's game is being brought to you by Parkview Federal Savings Bank, the Bainbridge branch at 543-8889. Newman, Leary, and Bryce with attorneys' law offices in Chagrin Falls and Chardon. Our good friends at Junction Auto Sales, dependability since 1931. Your best deal for Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Eagle, conveniently located at US 322 and Ohio 44. Connecticut Water Treatment Systems, water treatment equipment for your home and industry. The NV Corporation, printed promotional products, 468-3689. Waste Management of Ohio Western Reserve. At Waste Management, our team has the solutions for your solid waste and recycling needs. The Welding House Incorporated. Call 524-1955. The Gathering in Bainbridge. Contact The Gathering at 543-4541. All Trade Contractors. Call them today at 543-8816. Also, Precious Cargo Transportation, 543-9272. Also underwriting today's game are Jim and Debbie Borer, the fine folks at Breezewood Gardens. Also, the Robeck Fluid Power Company, Rick and Debbie Danello. Also by Bank One Cleveland in the Bainbridge branch. Fabiano Roofing Company. Jody and Jim Mandala and family saying, "Go Bombers!" By Continental Cablevision, serving Clyde and surrounding communities in northwestern Ohio. The fine folks at the Kenston High School Boosters Club, "Go Bombers!" And by Geauga Cable Access Corporation and GTV, local community programming specifically for Geauga County. Jeff Cole, a wonderful day again here at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium in Massillon. The weather conditions a bit windy. The Clyde Flyers come into the ball game. We mentioned 12-1 in all yellow uniforms with blue and white trim. The Bombers have gone home all the way. Dark blue uniforms, electric blue and silver and white trim. And I think we've got a dandy coming up for you.
I sure do, Andy. And right now I have to say the favor may go towards Kenston a little bit as far as weather. Clyde does like to put the ball up, and we know from watching Kenston the last 3 weeks, they like to just run it down your throat. And Andy, they're looking for what they had last week, and that's 6 and 7 yards of carry on first down. That's what really carried them through the game.
Well, if Andy Rule seems to have maybe a bad game, they go to John Wervey and he picks up the slack and vice versa. They have so many weapons, and if need be, they can always go out of their wideout. Ryan Noble as that extra spark can mark Lieberth. And we're almost ready to go, gentlemen. It's state championship time in Massillon. It's Kenston versus Clyde. Kicking off for Kenston from the right side of your screen with a little bit of a wind slightly behind him will be Andy Rule. And back deep for Clyde, it's number 1, Chad Long. And this Division III state championship contest from Massillon is underway. And a high floating kick by Rule comes down on the far side of the field. Along the far sideline for a nice gain out to the 34-yard line. Do the Flyers take it? And I could not see who the return man was on the play. It might have been Justin Shagnon, and I think that's who it was. And for Clyde, their starting offense, gentlemen, the quarterback will be Mark Durlam, a 53% completion rate, 16 touchdowns in the backfield. It'll be number 1, Chad Long. Fullback number 38, Justin Shagnon. The tight end, number 83, Mike Jesse. On the offensive front at center, it's Jeremy Woodruff. At guards, Craig West and Jim Tyree. And at tackle, Jim Anderson and Nick Clevenger. The wideouts are Ryan Carter and Roy Salazar. First and 10, Clyde at the 34 out of the I. 2 men split wide. Handoff right up the middle. They go for a good gain of about 7 yards. The ball carrier, Chad Long, on a nice run right down the middle, Jeff.
Yeah, that Chad Long is who they've been going to all year long, Andy. He has a 5-yard carry average, and he has over 1,000 yards for the year, 1,068 as you see him there, and that looks a little like Andy Rule running through there. It's going to be battle of the number 1s today.
Well, we mentioned for Clyde to have success, they'll have to basically neutralize or dominate the line of scrimmage against Kotzman and Walter. And on that play, they were able to bid a little bit of a seam up the middle and get a nice gain. Shagnon this time is split right behind Long. And Shagnon will be the ball carrier. And there's John Wervey there for a loss of a yard on the play. And Jeff, that was good Kenston defense.
They run out of the 4-3, and Wervey, the state wrestler, also the defensive player of the year, Andy, in Division III. And you've seen him 5 times, and you know why he was picked as the player of the year. He just has a nose for the ball.
An excellent tackle, went for the waist, the thigh area, brought his man down. Shagnon loses a yard on the play, brings up 3rd and 4 from the Clyde 40. Again, if you're joining us, Clyde in all yellow uniforms with blue and white trim, and they're going from left to right on your television screen. First big 3rd down call for the Durlam is going to drop straight back, throws a little pattern out on the flat, and there's nothing there. Wervey stops Chad Long for no gain. It'll be 4th and 4, and Kenston should be getting the ball back on the punt.
Peter Hayes was also right there in case Wervey did miss that. And looks like Kenston settled down a little bit on defense. They'll be getting the ball.
Again, John Wervey, he contained well to the outside and on the punt for Clyde. It's number 32, Jim Aldridge. And back for Kenston, it's number 5, Nate Nozel, number 25, Michael Merton. The kick is away and a beauty.
Nice kick.
Merton goes through his hands at the 14-yard line, picks it up at the 2, and that's where he's down. So the Bombers will start 98 yards away from the scoring zone as a little mistake by Merton. I think a little bit confused with the wind, Jeff. As the ball was kicked, a little burst took it over his head.
That was a great punt, though.
We have a penalty flag down at the 40-yard line, and they're pointing back toward the Kenston side. Let's wait for our referee. It'll be a clipping call against Kenston. Half the distance to the goal, and from the 2, Jeff, it's only a penalty of about 3 feet. Well, let's mention the starting offense for the Kenston Bombers. At quarterback, it's number 8, the senior Mark Lieberth. In the backfield, it'll be Andy Rule, number 1, along with John Werby, number 45. At wingback, number 40, Steve Wright. On the offensive front, Time O'Brien. Number 53, Chris Boyd at guard 61. It looks like they're going to make them re-kick the play, or else they'll get a first down out of it. And I think that's the call. They're going to give Clyde the first down off the penalty, so they'll maintain possession. I thought after the kick they would penalize them on the return, but apparently it's going to be first down for Clyde.
How is that? I don't understand that little clip.
An interesting call after the change of possession. Now they give the ball back to Clyde at the Kenston 44. They'll maintain this drive once again after the big break on the penalty. So Mark Durlam has the troops at the Kenston 44, 1st and 10 again out of the eye with Shagnon and Long in the backfield. And it's going to be Long this time. Breaks through to the sidelines. Got a nice run, and he may break it. Werby's after him and drags him out of bounds at the 11-yard line. The referee will spot him at the 9. And the Clyde Flyers have a 1st and goal at the 9.
Tackle on the play by John Werby for the Bombers.
Long, a lot like Rule. Once he gets through past his tackle, he is able to turn it on. Coming right to your screen. Fakes right out. And fortunately, Werby, with the excellent speed, catches him at the 10.
34-yard gain for Chad Long. And Jeff, in the pregame, we alluded to it. They've got to be able to widen the field with the offense, and they're doing just that. 1st and goal for Clyde at the 9. Shagnon right up the middle. There's nothing. The interior front from Kenston. Andy Rule is in there on the stop.
So's Walder.
And Walder, number 76. There's no gain. It'll be 2nd and goal at the 9.
Tackled by Andy Rule.
And keep in mind, Jim Aldridge, number 32, is also the place kicker for the Clyde Flyers if he's needed to be called on here. Glad you could join us from Ashland. Andy Sefcik and Jeff Cole with the call. 2nd and goal from the Kenston 9, a quick count. Long powers his way to the 4. A nice 5-yard gain for Chad Long, tackled by a number of Kenston defenders. Getting him up off the initial hit for Kenston was Steve Wright, number 40. And Long already with 46 yards rushing here on this initial series.
Clyde's not going to be too shabby next year either. Long's only a junior.
And they lost to Beloit West Branch last year, 28-11.
We got to see them in the state.
We did in the
playoffs.
State regional finals last year against Twinsburg Chamberlain. 8:23 in the opening quarter. This is the first drive for Clyde. They've got 3rd and goal at the Kenston 4. And there's a fumble on the play. It's down at the 15-yard line. The big hit for Kenston by number 81, Andy Kuhn. The ball recovered back at the 15 for a loss of 11 yards. It'll be 4th and goal for the Flyers.
Well, last week we saw the defense have to rise on an extra point. When they get close to the goal line, they are awful tough to score on. And the wise move just falling on that ball.
Now Clevenger recovered the fumble for Clyde. A good stick, though, on the play by Andy Kuhn for Kenston, and Clyde very lucky to get that ball back. Now Justin Shagnon is the place kicker. It'll be out of the hold of Bill Binder. A field goal attempt of 32 yards. A good snap. The kick is long enough, and he's got it right down the middle. So Clyde scores first to take the lead here in the state finals. They lead the Kenston Bombers by a score of 3-0.
No way to capitalize on that penalty, Andy. I still don't understand, however, how after the turn, change of possession, that they're able to still tack that off 15 yards. I don't understand that.
Well, again, that's a call we'll have to talk to the referees about if we can at halftime. After change of possession, I thought it would be penalized half the distance to the goal. But after that big break, Clyde able to take it down the field for the score, and they lead 3-0, Jeff.
They did it in 9 plays, 66 yards, and just 4.5 minutes off the clock. The key play, of course, the clip. And Andy, you remember, Kenston's been capitalizing the last 3 weeks on opponents' penalties, and for the first time, it cost them.
Well, a very impressive start to this ball game by the Clyde Flyers, but credit the Kenston defense for a good goal line defense inside the 5, getting to the sack and causing the fumble, but an excellent field goal by Justin Shagnon. That's a nice leg. He has a nice touch with the field goal. Had a nice smooth kick on that and right through the uprights.
I think Michael Merton's going to judge this ball a little bit better this time. He knows what to expect from this win.
Well, the sun may cause some problems as it begins to set behind us here at Paul Brown Stadium. And here comes the kickoff with Clyde up 3-0. And it's Michael Merton coming to the far side of the... He's got a lane if he can get a block.
He's got it.
He's got it. He's out to the 33-yard line. A nice tackle on the play for Clyde by number 20, Justin Woodruff. And Kenston this time will start their initial possession at their 33-yard line. And again, we mentioned Lieberth, the quarterback. Backs are Andy Rule and John Wervey, along with Steve Wright on the wing. And also Ryan Noble will be the out man, and the tight end Jack Cudzillo will give you the offensive line after this first play.
You're right, Andrew. Woodruff doesn't make that stop. He's off to the races because he was getting a block further down the field. 1st and 10 Bomber.
And our first look at the Kenston offense, Andy Rule right up the middle for a 4-yard gain. No, only 3 yards on the play. The initial tackle on the play by number 64 for Clyde, Nick Clevenger. And it'll bring up a 2nd and 7 for the Bombers.
Once again, the offensive line led by Tom O'Brien, number 53, also Nathan Hagan. And Mark Kotzman are the tackles. Tyson Walter, one of the guards. Chris Boyd is the other guard. Jack Cadizio is the tight end. We'll go to 2nd down, Andy.
Noble split wide to the top. Here comes Wervey on the sweep. Cuts it back, 40-yard line, and that's enough. The tackle on the play by Mike Jesse. A pickup of 3 more. It'll bring up a 3rd and 4 for the Bombers.
The play by Adam Greenslade and Mike Jesse. Third down now.
You know, Revere and Poland Seminary and a couple of teams we've seen the past couple of weeks don't have the speed to the ball that Clyde seems to have right now, Andy. They're very good as far as pursuing.
That's a very good ball club. Bob Bishop has these kids well trained to play the game of football. Andy Rule has the first down if he's got the right spot just over the 44-yard line. Brought down on the play by number 44, Wade Connor. It's a gain of about 4.5 yards, and from our vantage point, Jeff, it's a first down.
It is.
And I think, Jeff, with the running games of both of these teams, this ball game will be played very rapidly today.
Yes, it will. I think that was Matt Walter that sprung the block for him that time.
Again, we'd like to welcome all of our fine viewers today in the Clyde area watching on Continental Cablevision. It's a pleasure to be in your homes along with all of our friends at the Kenston High School in Bainbridge, Ohio. John Wervey on a sweep takes it out to near midfield for a gain of about 5 yards. And tackled on the play, it appeared to be Lucas Bohr, number 47 for Clyde. A gain of 5 and a 2nd and 5 for the Bombers.
I was a little upset, Andy. I don't know about you last week, but Kenston really didn't seem to get the media exposure that all the other teams were getting. I noticed this week a lot more of the local channels were out talking to Kenston. Of course, there's only 2 teams left in the division, but at least they did get some more exposure this weekend. Well deserved.
Well, nice to see that. It's a fine program. Again, they were in the finals in '86, losing to Cape 7-6. John Wervey finds a hole, and he's near the first down at the Clyde 46-yard line. Got a nice big block from Kotzman. And he's going to be about a half a yard short. It'll be 3rd down and 1 coming up as we watch it again.
Another nice block by Andy Rule. Everyone on this Kenston team, Andy, seems to have very good blocking skills. The linemen, even on special teams, as we saw last time, Merton could have sprung it. Just a very good coached offensive line and the fundamentals, blocking.
Well, a brief official timeout as we're down to 4:24 left here in the first period. Clyde leading 3-0 on a 32-yard field goal by Shagnon. And again, an official's timeout. We want to mention some of our other sponsors that have donated some funding as Custom Materials in Bainbridge. Tom Mackey, Dr. Jeff Campbell, dentist. Fine folks at the Bainbridge Body Shop, Bainbridge Shell, Huntington Bank, Bainbridge branch, say that 3 times, and Active Plumbing and Supply. Here's the Kenston Bombers out of the eye once again. Lieberth hands off to Rule. Good gain of about 3 or 4, and he's got a Kenston first down at the Clyde 44. Initial hit on the play by Justin Shagnon, and they'll move the sticks for the Kenston first down.
And Bill Binder.
This looks like normal Kenston offensive football again. Grind it out. You see Walter leading the way.
Well, the weather conditions this week have been ideal. Our first game that we did with Kenston was in a absolute quagmire in Solon, Ohio. The second week, 4 inches of snow. Last week, it was god-awful cold, and today's perfect. It's like spring in Massillon. John Werby's tripped over his own man. It'll be a loss of about 2 yards on the play as he bumped into Mike Thompson on the play, but that was some good pressure by the Clyde defense, Jeff, as we'll watch it here. Good penetration by number 47 on the play. Lucas Borer again that caused that mix-up.
Pushed him right back into the path of Werby. Wright comes in for the third down play. Excuse me.
Second and 12.
2nd and 12 for Kenston. Clyde up 3-0 here in the Division III state finals. Lieberth on the option. He'll keep it, cuts it inside for 2 yards on the play back to the original line of scrimmage. Stopped on the play for Clyde by Nick Clevenger once again.
Tackle on the play by Justin Shagnon.
And some of the Clyde fans have brought some aircraft here with some well wishes for their Flyers. Literally their mascot up in the air above Massillon today.
Now Kenston faced with their first long third and 9.
Well, the guy to watch here again, Ryan Noble, number 12. He split to the bottom of the screen in double coverage. Lieberth is going the opposite way, though. Puts it downfield, and it's going to be, I believe, it's incomplete. No, that's a caught. A sensational grab by Mike Thompson for the first down at the Clyde 32, but the coverage was just sensational. I don't know how he came up with that ball.
That might have been picked up, Andy. And Thompson showing why he's getting all the honors he is a postseason. I think he stole it right back. Good job by Lieberth, too. You can't cover much better than Andy, and can't throw it any better than Lieberth did. First and 10 Bombers.
Salazar all over Mike Thompson, but couldn't get the job done. You can't blame the kid, though. It was perfect coverage, just a perfect throw. Andy Rule's going to bounce it right up the middle. Now he's got a nice gain to the Clyde 24. That looked like almost a busted play, but he breaks it for a 7-yard gain and brings up a 2nd and 3 for the Bombers.
Second, third effort. We say it every week now. Rule stop, no gain, and turns it into 7.
And that was a big key to our game as well. Clyde had to shut Kenston down on first down. That time it didn't work. 7 yards. When you have an offense 2nd and 3, can't argue with it.
Everything's open.
We have a stoppage of play, and I think Clyde might have taken a timeout. Chad Long signaling something to the referee, but no timeout is being called for. May have had an equipment problem.
I think he was fixing his shoulder pad.
And the clock begins to wind again. We're down to 1:37 left in the opening quarter. Again, the Flyers of Clyde leading 3-0. Lieberth hands Andy Rule. There's nothing there, and an excellent tackle on the play by Nick Clevenger at the defensive tackle spot. This kid, Jeff, a 6'1", 240-pound senior, somebody we overlooked before the game, but he's having a sensational first period for Clyde.
We were commenting about Kenston's size. That is such a small. 3rd and 1 for Kenston. Timeout.
On the 23-yard line.
Well, we have a timeout. I want to mention that this program is being brought to you by Cablevision in cooperation with the Geauga Cable Access Corporation and the support from the Kenston-Bainbridge community. Geauga Cable Access Corporation is currently contacting townships and villages for funding from your cable television franchise fee. This is a fee paid by cable subscribers each month. If sufficient funding is obtained, programs such as commencements, concerts, sporting events, and other school-oriented programming will be carried on the Cablevision system by GCAC. GCAC is a private entity and not associated with Cablevision. Programming such as this can only be funded by your support and the franchise fee cable subscribers pay each month. If you would like to see more programming such as this, please let your local government officials be aware of your opinion. Thank you for your support, and in particular, many thanks to the Kenston Boosters Club and Continental Cablevision in Clyde and the Cablevision systems in Geauga County.
It's great they've been able to drum up enough support to get all 4 games on, Andy. We've enjoyed everyone that we've been able to cover. It's weird that we watched them in postseason only, and they're getting better every week. Talk about peaking at the right time. Mike Knepp's got them on perfect path.
Well, Mike Knepp in his second year here at Kenston, his record 16-6, a graduate of Hiram College, coming off the field after talking to his troops. They've got a 3rd down and 1 coming up at the Clyde 23-yard line. It's a big call here for Kenston to try to maintain this drive. Clyde digging in on defense to stop it. Out of the powerhouse backfield, John Wervey, he slips on the turf and is short of the first down. No gain on the play. Chad Long with the stop, and now Mike Knepp's got an interesting call on 4th and 1, and I think here, Jeff, you're going to go for it.
Yeah, being that you're on the short end of the stick, I think you want to keep things moving. Really, that's the first, 3rd, and 1 that I've seen Kenston not convert.
I'm very impressed with this Clyde defense. Chad Long, Ryan Carter, Roy Salazar, Justin Shagnon, Wade Connor, Adam Greenslade, Lucas Borer, Jim Anderson, Nick Clevenger, Mike Jesse, and Bill Binder doing a super job for the Flyers. Here's the 4th and 1 call for Kenston. Everybody in tight. Lieberth calling an audible on the line of scrimmage. Here comes the play. Rule didn't get there. The Clyde Flyers have held and will take over on downs at the 23, and Jeff, Kenston couldn't get a yard in 3 plays, and credit that tough Clyde defense.
Especially Wade Connor, number 44, who makes a stick on Andy Rule. You don't stop Andy Rule cold like that unless you're strong, and that's the first time in the 5 games we've seen that they haven't made a first down on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1.
Yeah, the clock running with 20 seconds left in the opening quarter. Clyde has just held on downs at the 23. Time for 1 play. Three seconds left. And they hand off to their man up the middle, Chad Long, for a nice gain out to the 28. And with that, the first quarter will come to an end here in the Division III State Championship game after 1 quarter. It's the Clyde Flyers 3 and the Kenston Bombers nothing.
At the end of the quarter, the score is Clyde 3, Kenston nothing.
And tonight's Division III State Championship game being brought to you by the good folks at Parkview Federal Savings Bank in Bainbridge. Newman, Leary, and Bryce, attorneys at law. Junction Auto Sales, dependability since 1931. Connecticut Water Treatment Systems. The NV Corporation. Waste Management of Ohio Western Reserve. The Welding House Incorporated. The Gathering Restaurant. And by All Trade Contractors. Precious Cargo Transportation. Jim and Debbie Borer. Breezewood Gardens. Robeck Fluid Power Company. Rick and Debbie Danello. Bank One Cleveland. Campopino Roofing. Jody and Jim Mandela and family. Continental Cablevision. The Kenston High School Boosters Club. And by Geauga Cable Access Corporation and GETV. And Jeff, we made it that time.
The list gets longer every week.
Well, Clyde opening their second quarter, 2nd down and 5 from their 28 out of the tee. They lead 3-0. A big shot right up the middle to Chad Long, the fullback, for a first down at the 36-yard line. Thompson on the stop for Kenston, a pickup of 7 and a first down for Clyde. And Jeff, the first series of the ball game, they held them on downs, but then were penalized, giving Clyde the second chance. And now the Clyde offensive line beginning to establish themselves and run the ball right at Kenston.
Well, and some more credit needs to be given to Long, because he's like Andy Rule. You can't just arm tackle him. He can stay low to the ground. He got through about 4 people that time. And like you said in the pregame, experience, I think, is playing a hand here for Clyde right now. They've been here before.
Misdirection, razzle-dazzle. They've got a little bit of a lane. There's a penalty flag down. The ball carrier that time was Jim Aldrich, picking up no gain on the play at all as Andy Rule, Eastman, and Thompson are there, and we'll wait to see what the referee has back here at the 32-yard line.
89, Clint Eastman.
Right now, Andy, see the call here. It's against Clyde. That'll back him up. Through the first quarter, stats are pretty much even. Kenston has the nod on first downs, 3-2. Rushing yardage, they have 30. Clyde with 39. Kenton has has one pass for 12 yards. Everything's even, really, except for the one big penalty, and that leads to Kenston points. Long has 51 yards and 4 rushes. So right now, he's the lead man, and Kenston still is week in and week out. Time of possession, 7 minutes and 8 seconds to Clyde's 4:52. Second down, Andy.
Thank you, Jeff. Each team really with one possession in that first period, a very quick-paced first period. Kenston declines the penalty, 2nd and 10 for the Flyers at their 36. Here's the pitch out, fumbled by Long. He falls on it. They may call Eastman for a penalty, and they don't do it. Very close to being called a personal foul, but Chad Long able to fall on it back at the 29, losing 7 yards on the play, and it'll bring up a 3rd and 17 for the Flyers.
Yeah, it was close.
Well, I think it was a late hit, personally, and he got away with it. So again, in high school, when you're down on the field with the ball underneath you, you're down. You cannot get back up. That's not the NFL. And now a timeout taken by Clyde, their first. 10:34 left in the half. What a minute. Our crew is provided courtesy of the Prism Video Group. Our director is Dan Demich. Our graphics coordinator, Doug Jones, and our audio man, Roger Spitali. The fine camera crew, Denny Hazen, Mike Commersmith, John Lucas, and our engineer is Andy Demian. And our executive producer is Mr. Dave Jepnikar.
And if they do half as well as they did last week, this should be a great game if you're home watching it.
Some of the Kenston fans made the trip down here from Bainbridge, about equidistant, I think, between the two schools. Of course, Clyde located in Sandusky County up on Route 101 and US 20. And I think I drove through there once about 15 years ago on my way to Toledo. I just took the long way in a nice little town of about 6,000 people. And boy, I think all 6,000 of them are across the way in the stands. They brought an excellent crowd here from Clyde, Ohio.
Unfortunately for them, they probably can't see too well. The sun is right in their eyes here on 3rd and 17.
Yeah, this is a big call for Clyde. Ball fake. They have a man over the middle. He's caught, but he's going to be short of the first down. Thompson makes the tackle. And it is complete, though, to Chad Long for about 14 yards, but he's 5 yards short of the first down. Make it a 12-yard gain, and Clyde will have to kick. And one thing, Jeff, the wind is beginning to subside somewhat.
Yeah, we tried to do that pregame down on the field before the game, and boy, it was horrendous down there.
Well, here's Aldridge to kick for Clyde. Aldridge with the punt and a good kick. It's looking to take a roll. It's touched by Clyde, I thought, in the thigh. Back at the 33, I thought they touched it, but they say it takes a good roll. Let's see if they downed it or not. The ball will roll dead at the 12, and that's where Kenston will take over. Apparently 1st and 10. I thought it went off the thigh of a Clyde player.
It was close.
No, it hit the turf all the way. An artificial turf roll for Clyde. And a beautiful punt. Roughly just short of 50 yards, a 49-yard punt for the Flyers. You see our score, Clyde 3, Kenston nothing. Second quarter for Paul Brown Tiger Stadium.
It's a battle of the defenses thus far.
No, the last time Kenston made this game here, it was 7-6, and it seems to be pretty much the same. Little misdirection to Andy Rule. Now he cuts it back through a hole to about the 17-yard line. It's a gain of about 4 yards and a bunch of Flyers there on defense for Clyde.
Including Mike Jesse.
Very impressed with this team, Jeff. I've not seen them, though I did talk to some of their people, and what they told me is the truth. They're not giving me anything.
Roy Salazar also on the tackle for the Flyers.
Salazar also credited with a stop. 2nd and 6, Kenston, the ball at their 17. Out of the tee this time, Lieberth has the troops. Lieberth, they're going misdirection now. Thompson carries to the 22-yard line, a little bit short of the first down. Brought down on the play by Bill Binder, number 89.
He's doing a nice job on both these plays. I don't know if you'll pick him up here. Sophomore Chris Boyd, number 61, who is pulling from his left guard position and opening the holes there. I mean, if you can get 5 yards each time, you're doing something right. He's had to pull both times. Only a sophomore. That's got to make Mike Knapp very happy.
Check that Mike Jesse on the last stop for Clyde. We're down to 8:15 left in the first half. The Flyers on their initial drive, aided by a clipping penalty, kicked a field goal by Shagnon of 32 yards. That's been all the scoring. About what we expected, Jeff. This is typical Kenston football game, low scoring. Werby's got nothing. A sensational tackle on the play. Number 47 on the stop, Lucas Bohr. It's short of the first down, 4th and 2 Bombers.
Well, they had 2 third down and ones and haven't capitalized. They're going to have to kick.
That looked like a 2-point takedown in wrestling. Clean all the way. Good hit. Salazar is back for Clyde at their 46-yard line, and here comes the punt from Noble. Good kick. Salazar dropped it at the 45, and that's where he's going to wind up. The tackle on the play for Kenston by Peter Hayes, and Clyde's got some good field position here, Jeff, at their 45, 1st and 10.
You have 2 defenses playing as well as these two. Field position is going to be everything. You know, the difference right now, Kenston hasn't really started in good position the entire game, and here goes Clyde from their own 44 and a half.
Well, this Clyde defense has been tough, much more than I had expected. And they're showing true form as to state championship defense. If they can keep it up. They lead 3-0 with 7 minutes to go opening quarter. Quick hitter Eastman is there on the stop. That looked like Shagnon, the ball carrier.
Quick hitter with Werby also on the stop.
No gain on the play. It'll be a 2nd and 10. Actually half a yard, but it's still 2nd and 10.
Eastman on the stop for the Bombers.
This is a big defensive stand for Kenston. They can ill afford to give up a touchdown here, going to the locker room down 10-zip. Although I understand in the Division 5 game, no lead is safe.
No, it was in overtime, too.
Yeah, Lisbon winning the Division 5 state championship 34-31 in 2 overtimes. They trailed that game, I heard, in the 4th quarter, 21-7. And Clyde takes another timeout. They're 2nd of the half with 6:34 left.
I think Kenston learned last week, you know, no lead is safe. They were up 20-7 in the 4th quarter. Good look at the Bomber crowd, which I thought was thin for a while, but they must all came in at the last minute.
Well, you know, we had trouble getting in here, 20 minutes out here in Massillon to get into the parking lot. Again, our thanks to everybody with the Boosters Club. Judy Werby stopped to chat with me before the game and exchange some pleasantries. The people in Bainbridge. It's almost my second home out in Geauga County, as I live in Chardon, Ohio, just up the road from Bainbridge. And I tell you, this is a thrill for me. My first state championship game on the air in 15 years. And for the folks at Clyde, Jeff Cole and myself, I'm the sports director. Jeff's our producer, executive producer at Cable 9 Television. In Macedonia, Ohio, we've been covering high school football in Cleveland for 14 years now.
That's right. This is probably the best team we've seen, Kenston.
Well, Clyde's right up there. Clyde's right up there, Jeff. Don't alienate anybody now. 2nd and 10 coming up for the Flyers. Everybody. Nice effort by Durlam, getting away, cutting up the middle of the field for a gain of about 7 yards to the Kenston 47. Andy Rule is there on the stop, along with number 76, I believe Tyson Walter.
Durlam does a good job here because he's almost sacked. He gets out of this one, and he turns this play into a gain, as you see a couple Kenston people go flying by before Andy Rule finally makes a stop.
Made a nice juke move to get away from Eastman. Here's a big call. 3rd and 3 for Clyde at the Kenston 47. They need to get to the 45-yard stripe. Durlam's got him in tight. And Long's got a first down at the Kenston 44-yard line. He got it by the length of the football. That'll move the sticks and keep the clock moving with 5:48 left in the half. And a good lean that time by Chad Long. Kenston defense had him wrapped up by the ankles, but that big 6-foot frame, a long lean forward enough. And what is 6 feet?
Where he had to stretch to.
Right, 6 feet equal what, Jeff? 2 yards? That's what he needed. First down. Out of the eye this time, Durham. 2-step drop, timing pattern over the outside and the flat, caught for a gain of about 4 yards. The ball caught by Ryan Carter, tackle on the play by Ryan Noble. And a hanger up there, Jeff. One of those could have been picked off, and we saw that last week against Poland when Andy Rule had an interception.
Noble saw that completely from the get-go.
Yeah, what they're doing, though, is what I suggested in the pregame, opening up the width of the field, keeping the Kenston defense honest. 2nd and 5 at the Kenston 40. Big drive for the Flyers. Fake to Shagnon. The quarterback keeps it this time, decked by Worthy. Durham maybe losing a half a yard back to the 40 and a half. It'll be 3rd and 6.
Andy Kuhn helped out, too.
Brings up 3rd down.
Really surprised by the media. Our good friend Adam Mendoza is here from WHK. Adam and I work together on Cable 9 basketball. Already they've got that season going. In fact, Kenston had to postpone their first 3 basketball games because 9 of the kids are on the football team. 3rd and 6, timing pattern dropped. In and out of the hands of Carter. He had enough for the first down. Noble on the coverage. It'll be 4th down. And I think right now, Jeff, if you're Bob Bishop, you're going to punt.
Yeah, Kenston's yet to get out of the hole deep. You might as well try to kick it down there again. Good job by Noble.
Well, the kids can't complain of the cold weather or poor weather today for the hands. No excuses on that one.
Mark Lieberth is going back deep.
Lieberth is back in single safety for Kenston back at the 10-yard line, and the punter is Jim Aldrich. A good snap and a high kick, almost straight up in the air. It's going to take another carpet roll at the 15-yard line and be downed at the Kenston 11. So another short kick, and I'll tell you, Mr. Aldridge has this turf down perfectly with these punts.
His punts don't look well when they leave his foot, but they always get the astroturf roll.
One thing, though, Jeff, with the offense here at your 11-yard line, you don't want to really make any big mistakes. At this level, at this type of ball game, when all the marbles are on the table, it could very well cost you the championship. 3-0 our score. Andy Sefcik with Jeff Cole here at Paul Brown Massillon Tiger Stadium, and the people are very courteous. They do a super job with the state tournament. My second year here, I was a spectator as Chardon beat Rayland Buckeye Local last year in Division II. 1st and 10 Kenston from their 11. This time Andy Rule is split out wide on the wing. Lieberth is going to throw. He's going to run for it. And he's out to about the 17-yard line. A good stop on the play for Clyde by number 83, Mike Jesse. Pickup of 7. And it'll be 2nd and 3.
Really not a bad play. I don't even think he was going to consider throwing this. I think that's why Andy Rule was out there as a lead blocker. Werby, heck, Werby helped out on the
picks
tackle.
up 6 yards on the play. 2nd down, 4.
Yeah, here comes the 2nd and long 3 for Kenston. They need to get to about the 21 and a half for the first down. The clock running with 3 minutes left. And Mark Lieberth wants to take a timeout, and Kenston has 1 remaining, as do the Clyde Flyers. And Jeff, a lot of timeouts taken here in this first half.
Surprise, yeah. It shows you what the defense is mixing things up. Both teams have had to take some timeouts.
Yeah, one thing today when we got into the field and Clyde came out in the field for the pregame show, thank goodness I had my sunglasses with me. Those yellow uniforms are something to behold, believe me.
Speaking of something to behold, Andy, I haven't been to Massillon since '75 when we played against them. And what a nice area. I mean, they just have this thing laid out. It's impressive. This is a lot nicer than a lot of colleges when you come pulling in here.
And you see the Kenston student body located at the 30-yard line. They do a super job here in Massillon, and they've hosted the tournament, I think, for 4 or 5 years now. It used to be at the Ohio Stadium at the Big Horseshoe, and Folks, putting 7,000 people in a 90,000 seat stadium doesn't cut it. And I think they made a nice move to get it here to Massillon or Dayton Welcome Field or even the Rubber Bowl. It's a little more, it's a word I'm looking for.
Intimate.
Intimate, that's correct. Thank you, Jeff.
Tell you what, though, it was grass when I was here. That's how old I am.
Now, you are, there's no question. Here's the 2nd and 3 after the Kenston timeout out of the tee. Lieberth hands off Worvey. Nearly got his head took off, and he's going to spin close to the first down at the 21-yard line. Stepped on the play by number 38, Justin Shagnon. And when Shagnon hits you, Jeff, you know it being a state wrestling champion.
You'll see right here. He's hitting another state wrestler, Worvey.
Well, that's a good no call. Got him on the dome of the helmet.
Andy, this is a stat I've been waiting for as Eric Anderson plops it down in front of me. Kenston's average starting field position yard line tonight has been the 8 today. I keep saying tonight. Has been the 18-yard line. Meanwhile, Clyde starting from their own 33. So, yes, there's been a huge advantage as far as the offense starting.
Well, the Flyers, Jeff, I feel doing everything they have to do right in this ball game to take a state championship. Kenston doing a good job, I believe, trying to move the ball on the ground, but the sledding has been difficult. And if you mention the field position, you know, you can ill afford to make any key mistakes when you're starting deep in your own territory.
Your offense is extremely limited when you can't throw to Noble and those people. And they're going to be a little more tentative after last week, as you saw Poland Seminary return 1 for 6. And we're back at that 3rd and inches, and what used to be a gimme, Andy, hasn't worked the last 2 times.
No, it hasn't. That tough Clyde interior defensive front, anchored by Jim Anderson and Nick Clevenger, have done a super job. This time they bring the linebacker in to fill the gaps. 7-man front. Worvey's got a first down at the 24-yard line, but 2 yards painfully grabbed by Worvey as he was pounded and leaning forward to get the first down to move the chains. 2:30 left in the half, and stay with us. For those watching in Geauga County, the Kenston High School Marching Band will be coming up for you.
Adam Greenslade on the stop for the Flyers.
By the way, our fine stat crew from the University of Akron, Eric Anderson and Josh Sines, who've been with us all year. Here's the first down call. Lieberth going to throw this time. Looking for Thompson, puts it up in the flat, and it was well short. Good coverage on the play by the Clyde defense, playing a good zone. The coverage on the play by Roy Salazar.
Salazar, about 2 steps further, would have picked that off and gone for 6.
Now the clock stopped with 2:12 left in the half. Again, each team with just 1 timeout remaining.
It's been a quick half.
This almost will be like a day-night game as we start with bright sunshine, and by the time we're done, it will be pitch black with the lights on. Here's Lieberth to throw. Got some room. That time the hole closed quickly. He's to the 25-yard line for a gain of 1. And the stop on the play by number 44, Wade Connor, along with Jim Anderson, 61, at the defensive tackle spot. And they closed that hole very quickly, Jeff.
Goes back to what we were saying earlier. Unlike the teams that Kenston's faced the last 3 weeks, great pursuit by Clyde. That hole looked huge, Andy, when he initially started running, and Anderson was able to close it down quickly. 3rd and long again.
It's 3rd and 9 officially from the 25. The 34-yard line is where the stick is located. Andy Rule and Thompson, along with Noble, split wide, and a rush coming. Lieberth gets away from it. Good mobility. He's got some running room. Good juke move. 30, 35 out of bounds at the 38-yard line. And did he take a hit from Chad Long, who nearly put in? He might have knocked out Lieberth as he's slow to get up on the sidelines. And watch this one, a good high hit on Lieberth going out of bounds, and he gets a big hand from the home faithful.
I like this Lieberth kid, Andy. I mean, everyone else has got all the press all year, but it's kind of close there.
Like a yellow comet coming through the screen. A blur was Chad Long. Good speed.
He was fair, though. He was still hitting upfield.
There's no penalty there. It was just a good hard hit. Nearly put Lieberth out of the ball game. He's back, though, 1st and 10 for Kenston. 1:21 left in the half. They've got it at their 39. Werby the lone setback. They're going to throw over the middle. It's batted down on the defensive front by Jim Anderson. Got a hand on it. And that stops the clock. Brings up 2nd and 10 with 1:17 left in the half.
Here's a Jim Anderson can knock that down. If you notice from the ground camera there, he's 6'4". So when he steps up in the air, boom.
Put a hurting on that pigskin. A defensive struggle. Clyde 3, Kenston nothing. The Division III state championship game in Massillon. And for the first time all year, Jeff, we can say there's no more football next week.
You'd be correct.
It's been a long season on television, 14 weeks for us. Lieberth getting pursued, gets away, and he's got good mobility, puts it up downfield for Rule. Overthrown by an eyelash. Kenston wanted a penalty, but that's not the call, folks. Rule was a little bit short with the reach for it. I thought he might have been able to get to it, but excellent coverage by the Flyers, and that'll bring up 3rd down and 10.
Lieberth, like Larry Poland, had pretty good pass rushing, and right now Lieberth doesn't have a lot of time to set up back there. He's running for his life, and I'm surprised he even got it in the vicinity of Rule.
This Clyde defense, very well engineered this afternoon. This is the only team really to give this Kenston offense fits. 3rd and 10 coming up from the 39. Lieberth, straight drop again. Now he's being pressured, getting away, throws it up, and it's incomplete, looking for Cutzillo. And who's there again but the thorn in the side of the Bombers, Jim Anderson. He nearly picked it, and there's a penalty flag down at the 34. And it may be a holding. Now they're going to wave it off. So no flag, and it'll be 4th down, and the Bombers will have to kick.
The flag has been waved off.
And right now the passing game is non-existent for Kenston because there's actually no time back there for Lieberth. Just when he goes to plant and look for somebody, he's had to run for his life.
Well, here's Ryan Noble on the kick. They need a good snap here. And a perfect snap. Kick is away in a high floating spiral. That's a fumble. There's the real late penalty flag coming in. That was very close. I don't believe they have to give him any room on the reception, and they're going to call for interference against Kenston, which will be 15 yards. And I think we're going to get a look at this one again.
He called for a fair catch.
No, he got there clean after the ball was tipped.
It's a bad call.
And we'll see it again. There's the ball, boom, there's the hit, simultaneous. In fact, I think he got the hit after the ball was there. And the Kenston fans using some expletives down on the field.
If I wasn't on the air, I'd be using the same ones. Bad call.
Interference against the Bombers, and the second big break for the Flyers. It'll be 15 yards from the 27-yard line, and we'll put the ball out to about the 42. And for Kenston. So apparently there's no yardage on the penalty. Again, if it's interference, the ball was there first, then the hit. And I was not aware of that there is a 2 or 3 yard rule like in the Canadian Football League. 1st and 10 on a draw. And he fell down to Chad Long that time trying to make a cut. Loses 2 yards. Kotzman on the stop. Pardon me, Tyson Walder.
When he got around Walder, that kid was right in there. 40 seconds left.
Tyson Walder tackle for the Bombers.
Each team with a timeout. Really, Kenston can't get the ball back unless there's a turnover, and Clyde very content with a 3-0 lead. Kenston will get the ball to start the second half.
Right now they're losing one big penalty to nothing. I'd still like to find out what happened at halftime.
Long this time. He's pulled down after a gain of about 2 yards. Stopped on the play for Kenston by Andy Kuhn, and that will end the first half. It's been a defensive struggle. One penalty leading to a Clyde field goal on the opening drive of the ball game, and the Flyers go to the locker room leading Kenston by a score of 3-0. Halftime activities coming up on GTV after this pause. Back here at Massillon Tiger Stadium, our halftime score, the Kenston Bombers trailing the Clyde Flyers by a score of 3-0. Very interesting first half, a defensive struggle, the only scoring coming for Clyde on a 32-yard field goal by Shagnon at the 7:27 mark of the opening quarter, and that made it 3-0, and other than that, it's been a defensive struggle between the 20s throughout the first half. Want to make a mention that tonight our telecast has been brought to you by the good folks at Parkview Federal Savings Bank in Bainbridge, Ohio. The law firm of Newman, Leary, and Bryce. The good folks of Junction Auto Sales at 322 and 44. Connecticut Water Treatment Systems. The NV Corporation. Waste Management of Ohio Western Reserve. The Welding House Incorporated. The Gathering in Bainbridge. All Trade Contractors. Precious Cargo Transportation. Jim and Debbie Borer. The fine folks at Breezewood Gardens. And by Robic Fluid Power Company. Our thanks to Rick and Debbie Dinallo. Bank One, Cleveland. Camp Papiano Roofing. Thank you to Jody and Jim Mandela and family. And a wonderful thank you to our friends in Clyde from Continental Cablevision. And where would we be without the help from the Kenston High School Boosters Club? And finally, Geauga Cable Access Corporation and GTV. Again, 3-0 our score at the halftime. Andy Sepchik with Jeff Cole back at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. Jeff, wonderful defensive ball game. Neither team able to get a big play. Again, the big mistake, actually a clipping penalty, which was somewhat controversial, led to Clyde's only score. And you have a look over at our halftime statistics, courtesy of the fine staff here at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium.
Yeah, before we go through all that, Andy, very good first half for both teams. You know, neither one needs to really panic right now. They both moved the ball. They both had excellent defenses. It's just the tip of the hat goes to Clyde as far as field position, and I think that was really the whole story of the first half. Kenston's offense is a little more subdued when they're starting every time at their 18-yard line, and I don't know, that switches around this half. I think you'll see Lieberth and the rest of them open things up a little bit. Looking down the stats, though, like we said, pretty well even. Right now, Kenston leads in first downs, 5 first downs for the Bombers to 4 for the Flyers. Rushing right now, the net yardage for the Bombers 69, while Clyde has 52. Passing right now, 1 completion for Kenston for 11 yards, and Clyde was 3 for 4 for 75. Fumbles. Clyde's dropped the ball twice, but they recovered both times. And like I said, the most important stat as far as I'm concerned on here was the penalty, and still controversial, but you know, High school and pro rules are a lot different, Andy, and we were told it's a matter of where you determine who has possession of the ball as far as that clipping penalty goes. But right now, that's what's led to the only 3 points of the game.
Well, Kenston had a drive stopped on downs at the 23-yard line early in the second period. Some good defense. Kenston had a position, Jeff, where they were second down and 1 at the 23 and couldn't get a single yard in three consecutive carries. That has been really the big drive of the ball game, because their Kenston looked like they had a little bit of momentum and couldn't get the job done. But credit this Clyde defense. They have been sensational. And, you know, folks, you got to credit a ball club here as we're looking at the Flyers. They've been in this championship game 2 consecutive years. I mean, last year they lost to West Branch, who were just sensational.
So hard to come back, too.
You know, they avenged their only regular season loss to Oak Harbor in the second round of the playoffs, who, by the way, were co-league champs for the year in the Sandusky Bay Conference. But they've done a wonderful job. But now Kenston, as you see, Mike Neff trying to get the troops fired up. Last week against Poland, they were in a similar position, and they came out of the third quarter with the opening kickoff, drove down the field, impressively scored a touchdown, and from then on in, it was on their way to the state title game. But they're going to have to do that again tonight, Jeff. 3-0, you know, there's a good possibility that could be the final score the way these teams have played.
Right now, what the Flyers have going for them is they've shut down Kenston's potent offense. When is the last time Rule has only been averaging 3.4 yards per carry, and even worse than that, Werby's only averaging 2 yards right now on a carry. They've kept those two in check. Meanwhile, Long is right about just a little bit above his average. He's getting 6.2 yards per carry here in the first half. But, you know, with Mr. Nepp speaking to them at halftime and with them getting the ball right here, I think you might see a different Bomber team come out onto the field here as we start the third quarter.
Well, this is it as far as the season goes. There is no tomorrow. This is week 14, the final week of the high school football season in the state of Ohio in 1995. Clyde leads Kenston by a score of 3-0. And don't forget to stay with us at the conclusion of our telecast. We'll show the trophy presentation to the state champion for Division III. Again, I'm so glad we could be in your homes in Bainbridge and Clyde, Ohio. You're glad we could be a part of this wonderful, wonderful championship game. I'm thrilled to be here and looking forward to, I think, Jeff, is going to be a sensational second half. And it is underway. Here comes Michael Merton from the 10-yard line, has a lane, and did he get decked? And who's there again but Chad Long? And that man must have eaten 3-4 boxes of Wheaties this morning. He has been sticking people left and right, and great example there as he nearly put Mr. Merton in Kenton.
You know, I don't even know where he came from, because there was a lane right here. You see the lane, and out of nowhere. That's known as a stick.
Well, Kenston will start at their 28. 1st and 10 to start the third period. Werby and Rule in the backfield. Mark Lieberth, the quarterback. It's Andy Rule, and he's got a gain of about 4 out to the 32-yard line. On the stop is Chad Long once again.
Andy, the only other stat I'd like to mention from the first half, which Kenston is not used to, as we see Rule run off to the left side. The time of possession, Clyde caught up. Kenston had the ball for just under 12 and a half minutes, and Clyde had it for just over 11 and a half. And we're not used to seeing that kind of stat with Kenston.
Not at all. They've got to get things going. 2nd and 6 from the 32. Andy Rule once again. There's nothing there. Maybe a yard. And the defensive front knifing through the big front of Kenston. They've done a wonderful job. They've done what they've had to do on the stop.
Mike Jesse's had a great game on Clyde right now. Number 83. He's been on quite a few tackles against some very good people. You don't bring Rule down every time, and I know Jesse's made a few solo tackles.
Well, here comes the 3rd and 4 call for Kenston at the 34-yard line. Crucial call early, third period. Lieberth rolling out to get away from the pressure. Steps up, throws, batted up and intercepted. Picked off, late penalty flag down, intercepted by Shagnon. And a late flag down at the 44-yard line. This might be either defensive interference or a holding call, but they're pointing to Kenston. Pass interference against Kenston, offensive, and I don't understand that call after the ball was tipped. But Shagnon with a tremendous interception, the first really big break of the ball game as Clyde has it 1st and 10 at the Kenston 36.
It's our first turnover.
And the kids we talked about early, Jeff, Chad Long, Shagnon, Durlam have done a wonderful job. They've been the story of this ball game thus far through 24 minutes. And here's Durlam with the troops at the Kenston 36, 1st and 10 after the turnover. And the draw it along. He's got a big hole. Fumble the ball. I think he got it back. Chad Long like the Tasmanian Devil. No, Kenston's going to take over at the 31. And let's take a look at it again.
Andy Kuhn, I believe, comes up with it. Andy. Oh, what a nice stick, too.
I don't know if that was, couldn't tell who made the hit. It was Noble with the submarine job. He coughed it up, did Long, and now Kenston starts 1st and 10 at their 31. Wow. 2 plays, 2 turnovers. I told you we were in for a heck of a second half. Here's Lieberth pitching out. Wervey. Spin move. Nothing there. No gain.
Guess who?
You're kidding me. Not Jesse again.
Yes. I think I'd run the other way.
This Clyde defensive front has shut down the powerful Kenston running game. They give him a yard on the play. 2nd and 9.
Know as well as I do how tough it would be to bring Wervey down.
2nd down, 9.
Hill Noble, the lone set man to the bottom of the screen by 10 yards. Peter Hayes in the power eye backfield for extra blocking. Lieberth gives it to Andy Rule. There's nothing there, just a pile of bodies. He gets 2 yards, maybe 3 to the 35. And you name it is getting up off the pile again. Jesse, along with Wade Connor on defense for Clyde. It'll be 3rd and 6. And Clyde's done a tremendous job on 1st down in this ballgame, holding Kenston to short yardages. Got 8.5 minutes to go, 3rd period. The Flyers lead the Bombers 3-zip. Lieberth, looking to throw, being pursued, gets away, puts it up deep downfield. Thompson, incomplete. Down at the Clyde 35, he had broken free, Jeff. I think if he would have stayed with his pattern, he would have been gone.
We probably don't have a camera that far downfield, but you're right, Andy Thompson hesitated, thinking he had to come back for the ball, and if he would have stayed in stride, I think this might have been 6.
Oh, Jeff, you mentioned, do we have a camera down there? Well, yes, we do. Watch it.
Yeah, but he's already stopped by now, is what I'm saying.
All right. Let's not be critical of our fine crew.
No,
I think he's done a wonderful job here for some video.
People to key on individual receivers. Geez, they should be working for NBC right now.
Noble with the kick. Taken by Chad Long at the 30, and he's stuck immediately on the play by Steve Wright.
I think emotions are getting a little bit higher here, Andy?
I would say so. Even in the booth, we're getting a bit excited as we watch the big hit by Steve Wright. Right, Jeff. Thank you. Again, we want to thank some people from the Kenston High School Boosters Club, again, for their cooperation and funding of a lot of things here.
Ed Lieberth is very important on that,
Ed Lieberth as well, the athletic director. 1st and 10. This is Clyde with the football at their 29. Durlam to throw. He's going deep downfield. Incomplete, intended for Roy Salazar, who had broken behind Lieberth on the single coverage. And boy, have we really seen the teams open it up here in the second half.
Just out of the reach.
And you're watching the Division III State Championship game from Massillon Paul Brown Stadium. Andy Sefcik and Jeff Cole with you. Here's the 2nd down call. Up the middle, I think Shagnon, nothing there. Maybe a yard on the play. Wervey on the stop for Kenston along with Eastman and Tyson Walder.
Up the gut has not worked for Clyde tonight.
Leading to their only field goal and the only score thus far of this ball game. 3rd down, 9. for Clyde at the 31. Durlam. Ball fake, looking to roll out. It's got some room. Eastman after him out on the flat. Out of bounds. Incomplete. He caught the ball, but out of bounds. The pass was intended for Bill Binder, and it'll be 4th down, and Kenston should get the ball back in good field position. But, Jeff, they've got to handle one of these punts. They've let 3 kicks roll on this turf for 20, 30 yards each time.
If they can handle this, this will probably be the best field position they have all night.
But again, credit Jim Aldridge with some excellent punting.
You notice Merton is dropping back deeper than normal, expecting that bounce.
Hale Merton and Nozel are back there. It's a high floating kick. Merton wants a fair catch at the 35, and there's a hit. There should be a penalty. There it is. Finally, Kenston going to get a call. He called clearly for the fair catch. I think the folks in Cincinnati saw that one, and then he was touched, and that'll be a penalty.
Merton
should be 15 yards. Well, either 5 or 15.
Either way, it'll be their best start.
Well, the kid's excited about it. It's a state title game, a little over-anxious. And if it's 15 yards, it'll give Kenston the ball right at the 50-yard line stripe. And that's where it's going to go. So the Bombers have a great opportunity here midway through the 3rd period to get something on the board. They trail this great, great football team from Clyde 3-0.
Yeah, and you start at your 50, your entire offensive scheme of things is wide open, Andy.
Well, this is their first and their best field position, actually spotted at the 49 of Clyde, 1st and 10. Again, Rule, Worthy in the backfield in the power eye, and Noble split wide to the top. Andy Rule, he's going to the outside, there's nothing there. Coming up from a safety spot to make the tackle is Roy Salazar for a yard gain. It'll be 2nd and 9.
Just to show you how balanced this team is, I say you should probably go away from Jesse, and that's exactly what Kenston does. But there's some good players on the right-hand side for Clyde also.
Well, their safeties and linebackers have been pinching the whole game. This is what Poland did successfully in the 4th quarter last week against Kenston. And the fine coaching staff, led by Bob Bishop at Clyde, may have seen something. Here comes Andy Rule again, coming up the middle of the field for a 4-yard gain to the 45. Stopped on the play for Clyde. Number 62 is in there, Chuck Holland. And a big 3rd and a long 5 coming up for Kenston as we're down at the 6-minute mark of the 3rd period. What a terrific tilt tonight. I think there's no question, Jeff, these are the 2 top teams in Division III in the state of Ohio. No question about it. And we're getting our money's worth and then some tonight. Big 3rd down call. Lieberth on the rollout again, getting some containment. Now he's being flustered, trying to get away. He's got nowhere to go. He'll lose 6 or about 10 yards on the sack for the Flyers, Adam Greenslade. And it'll be 4th and long, and Kenston will be forced to punt. And Liebert is hobbled.
And that isn't Liebert's fault. There was some excellent coverage by the Flyers on that play. I kept looking downfield to see what he was taking so long to throw for, and there was nobody to throw to. And we'll see if we can see where he twists his foot here.
And right about there is when he should have released the ball, but you mentioned the excellent coverage, Jeff. Just an ankle twist, I would think. Ryan Noble on the kick. Salazar or Longer back at their 25-yard line. Here's the left-footed kick headed for the sidelines. Takes a good roll out of bounds at the 26, and that's where Clyde will take over. 5:07 left in the 3rd, and the Flyers on their initial drive with the field goal, still holding on to a 3-0 lead.
Now the thing to watch here, Andy, Liebert, you know, he's hobbling on offense, that's one thing, but he's usually the safety for Kenston, and I don't see number 8 in the game, do you?
No, Jeff, he's still being attended to on the bench in front of us at the 45-yard line.
See if Clyde has the courage to put the ball deep here.
1st and 10. Durlam keeps it. Down he goes at the 22-yard line. Loss of 3 on the sack. On the stop for the Kenston Bombers, it's Mark Kotzman.
Of course, you can't put it deep if you have no time to throw it.
Well, I think, though, Jeff, Bob Bishop did exactly what you wanted. They were going to where Lieberth should be, and they didn't get the time on it. Loss of, they'll say 2 yards, second and about 12, maybe 13 on the play.
You know, these may not be the best two teams in Division III, but they look like the best two defenses, that's for sure.
Well, Durlam's got the troops. Keeping it, option play.
Oh.
He's down at the 18-yard line. Eastman in on the stop for Kenston, a loss of 5. And it'll be 3rd down and 17 for the Flyers.
That 3-0 score is looking more and more like a reality here.
What a shame that would be, though, if the 3-0 score stood, and technically, if you look at it on a questionable clipping call.
Yep.
Here comes the 3rd and 16 call for Clyde, and they're going to run a draw. And Kotzman, they're trying to strip the ball at Kenston. A good move as they had Long bottled up at the 25. Picks up 6 yards. It'll be a 4th and 10, and the Flyers will be on to kick. And I don't know if you noticed, Jeff, but Kotzman had Long all bottled up, and then along comes John Werby to try to pick his pocket, as we'll see at the end of the play. There's a face mask they got away with. Here it comes, right there.
Werby sees that, too. Look at that.
Nearly got it out of there. Here comes the kick by Aldridge. High floating kick. Another fair catch taken at the 46-yard line by Michael Merton again, and Kenston getting another good opportunity. And Jeff, tale of two halves, Kenston has got the field position, and you're right, they're looking at Lieberth's left ankle. He is not in the ball game.
We haven't seen their backup thus far this year, I don't believe.
Well, we will now. It's Brian Shalito, a sophomore, 6'2", 165 yards, and there's a look at Lieberth. They're looking at the left ankle. He doesn't seem to be in any agony, but they've got the shoe off. And Shalito's going to come on to try and lead Kenston to a championship. Andy Rule barrels his way for 5 yards to the Clyde 49-yard line. Chad Long on the stop for the Flyers. We're down to under 3 minutes now left, 3rd period.
Could you imagine what Shalito's going through right now as a sophomore in the state championship finals and his team is losing?
Well, this is where the other kids got to step it up, and I think they realize that, because who knows if Lieberth will be back in the game or not. He still has the helmet on. That's a good sign down in front of us. Shalito gives it to Andy Rule again. He barrels his way down to the Clyde 47-yard line for a 2-yard pickup, bringing up 3rd down 3. Long getting up off the pile along with Wade Connor, and it's a big 3rd down call for Kenston.
I think you mentioned what's so important here is that Andy Rule and John Werby and those type people pick it up here because they need this drive. You know, the 3rd quarter is going to end here probably after this drive.
Down to 2 minutes now, 3rd period. 3rd and 3, Kenston at the Clyde 47. Andy Rule again didn't get it. He lost 2 yards, or lost a yard. Coming in on the penetration for Clyde 47, Lucas Borer, and it's 4th and 4 for the Bombers, and they'll be on to kick once again. And what a defensive struggle we've got here at Massillon.
Amazing. And they are bringing down great athletes on both sides of the ball. Long and Rule, both well over 1,000 yards for the year, and neither one of them has been able to spring anything.
Noble to kick. Salazar, fair catch at the 10, and that's where Clyde will start. 1st down, and Jeff, as we mentioned, the field positions flip-flop.
Sure.
Clyde starting behind the 8 ball, but the main thing for the Flyers is they've got the 3-0 lead.
And the 1st-string quarterback.
No, they're taping Lieberth's leg. They're putting ice on the ankle. That's not a good sign. I don't believe he'll be back.
I'll be honest with you. I think he might have just done that on his own, trying to get out of a tackle. I don't think anyone from Clyde really injured him.
Well, here come the Flyers to the line of scrimmage. 1st down at the 11, and if you're a Kenston fan, you're hoping for big turnover. Durlam out of the eye. Gives it to the big back Long. He's got maybe a yard to the 12, piled up by a number of tacklers. Eastman and Kuhn, and there's a look at Mark Lieberth on the bench with the ice pack on the outside of the left ankle.
Long once again trying to find something up the middle. You're not going to run around Tyson Walter, however.
Now the Rock of Gibraltar on this defense, along with Mark Kautzman. They've allowed really one big run. That's been it. And the only thing hurt him so far was the clipping call on the initial punt. Less than a minute to go. Misdirection play. Tyson Walter on the stop.
Andy, in the third quarter alone, neither team has had a first down on offense. Kenston has thrown an interception and punted 3 times. Meanwhile, Clyde has fumbled and punted twice. Just a story of a defense here in the third quarter. No first downs for either team.
Well, Woodruff on the last carry for Clyde, picking up about 4 or 5 yards. It's third down and a long 5 for the Flyers at the 16. Shagnon looking for the first down. Sticky stopped a yard short. Tackle on the play by Steve Wright. It'll be 4th down and 1. And the third quarter has come to an end here at Massillon Paul Brown Stadium. After 3 periods in the state title game for Division III, Clyde leads Kenston 3-0. We'll be back right after this. Massillon, tonight's telecast is brought to you by Parkview Federal Savings Bank, Newman, Leary & Bryce, attorneys at law, Junction Auto Sales, Connecticut Water Treatment Products, the NV Corporation, Waste Management of Ohio Western Reserve, the Welding House Incorporated, and by The Gathering, all trade contractors. And now back to the field we go for the start of the 4th period. Clyde on to kick to start the 4th quarter on 4th and 1 from their 20, and Kenston has to be very careful not to jump off sides at this point. Shagnon, or pardon me, Merton and Nozel are back, and here comes the kick. High floating kick. Nozel takes the fair catch at the 49. Kenston will start there. Also, tonight's ball game is brought to you by Precious Cargo Transportation, Jim and Debbie Borer, the Breezewood Gardens, Robeck Fluid Power Company, Rick and Debbie Danello, Bank One Cleveland, Campapiano Roofing, Jody and Jim Mandela and family, Continental Cablevision serving Clyde. First down for Kenston at the 49-yard line. Start of the 4th quarter. Shalito still in at quarterback. Andy Rule barrels his way down to the Clyde 46 for a gain of 3. And also our special thanks to the fine folks at the Kenston High School Boosters Club and Geauga Cable Access Corporation and GTV. Now time to buckle your seatbelts in Clyde and in Bainbridge. The 4th quarter for the state title game. 3-zip our score. Clyde's field goal at 7:27 of the first quarter is held up, and here comes the 2nd and 7 for the Bombers. Andy Rule again, man, he's having very little success going right up the middle, picking up another 2 yards on the play. Stop for Clyde by Brad Musser.
You know, this game should end, Andy, and I hope it doesn't this way, but if you're a Bomber fan, you can't say that in the second half that they didn't have an opportunity with the field position, because each drive, this entire half, has been near midfield. So they need to take advantage of that fact if they're going to put any points in the board.
Now Brian Shalito, the sophomore, 15 years old, 6'2", 165's got a tough job ahead of him. He's going to throw. Look out from the backside, runs, and he's down. Back at the 47 on the sack for the Flyers. It's number 62, Chuck Holland, and Kenston will have to come on to kick.
Wade Connor and Chuck Holland down the stop for the Flyers.
In his defense, he didn't have a lot of time to find someone. And all night long, Andy, the Flyers have had excellent coverage on all of Kenston's backs and wide receivers. And They have to kick once again. I think if they're going to win this game, Andy, it's going to be Rule and Worthy and someone running the ball. And look at that.
What a break for Kenston. The ball down at the Clyde 1. What a kick by Ryan Noble. Roy Salazar ran away from it, and the thing just absolutely took a U-turn inside the 5. And Clyde is in deep, deep trouble here behind the 8 ball, starting at their 1. They can ill afford any mistake here.
Here I thought Josh Sines handed me the wrong sheet, Andy. I forgot there were no first downs in the third quarter, so that remains Kenston's favor 5-4. Rushing yards, Kenston 89, Clyde 76, and 1 turnover each. It was very even in the third quarter. Not a lot of stats when you don't have any first downs. Here we go.
Mark Durlam's got to be very careful here at the 1. It's going to be Chad Long out to the 5-yard line for a gain of 4 on the play. And on the stop for Kenston appeared to be Peter Hayes. We also want to mention other sponsors tonight. Custom Materials in Bainbridge, Mr. Tom Mackey, Dr. Jeff Campbell, Dentist, Bainbridge Body Shop, Huntington Bank, Bainbridge, I get that wrong every night. The Huntington Bank in Bainbridge, Active Plumbing and Supply, and Bainbridge Shell. Too many B's in Huntington Bank, Bainbridge. 2nd and 6 coming up for the Clyde Flyers. Long again, leans his way out to the 8. Pickup of about 3. It'll be 3rd and 3 for the Clyde Flyers. And we're down to 9 minutes left in the 4th quarter, and Clyde maintaining the 3-0 lead.
And right now, Long is the only back with any substantial yardage. That puts him at 84 yards for the evening. And he needs to stretch here if they're going to keep the ball.
They need to get to about the 12 for the first down. Mark Durlam's really led the troops very well. No mistakes. Off tackle, it's going to be short by a half a yard. It looked to be shagged on the ball carrier. The hole closed very quickly. Andy Kuhn there along with Eastman, and it looks to be a half a yard short. And here's a look at it again in your living rooms.
They stop him at the 10. He does fall forward, but I agree with you, Andy. I don't think he has it. And here comes the punting team.
Well, if you're a Bomber fan, you're hoping they snap the ball into the stands. But that still would only make it 3-2. And apparently, Clyde is requesting a measurement, but the referee saying no dice.
This is it, Andy. If the Bombers get the ball here, they're going to get it within inside the 50-yard line. It's going to come down to what it always comes down in high school football. Really, senior leadership, Worthy, Rule. You got to, get the quarterback off the hook. They don't want to be throwing the ball.
Aldridge with a beautiful kick. Nozel takes it at the 45. He takes it back to the Clyde 40. This is Kenston's best shape of the ball game. 1st and 10 from there. A return of 8 yards. And again, Shalito coming out to take the snaps for Kenston as Mark Lieberth still having his ankle attended to. He's able to move it.
Andy, other than the backs, too, it comes down to the season for the linemen, Kotzman, Walder, of course, Chris Boyd, Tom O'Brien. If you're losing your quarterback, you got to open a hole now for the running backs.
First down, Kenston at the 40. You look at Lieberth on the bench a moment ago. Andy Rule coughed it up. And I think the Flyers may have it at the 41. And they do. Recovered by Clyde. Andy Rule coughed it up on the exchange at the 41. And Jeff, that happens when you don't work with the young man all season. The ball was never in the breadbasket. It hit him in the armpit. And it looks like recovering for Clyde is number 61, Jim Anderson. A tremendous break for the Flyers with 7.5 minutes to go. And Jeff, if they can get some sort of drive sustained, they may be looking at their first state championship.
That's what I'm saying. Kenston doesn't need to panic yet. They've held them all night long. They've got to keep things going here.
Durlam handing off up the middle, gain of about 3, maybe 4 on the carry. Well, no, now they're saying only about 3 yards. Chad Long on the carry up the middle. Spotted at the 43-yard line, a pickup of 2 officially. 2nd and 8 coming up as we see it again. Peter Hayes on the stop.
Ball is on the 43.
And I think, Jeff, we still haven't had a first down in the second half by either team. And Eric Anderson and Josh Sines concur. Thank you, gentlemen. 2nd and 8 coming up for the Flyers. They still lead, 3-0. That's long again. 2 more yards to the 44. Mike Thompson on the stop, along with Andy Kuhn, and it'll be 3rd down and 7.
And Mike Thompson.
And a timeout taken for an injury. Peter Hayes down on the field as Kenston. This has been a hard-fought ball game. Rock'em sock'em, tough football in the trenches today, and it's really, I think, been an even battle. And I thought that's all Clyde had to do was play even. Now, while Hayes is being attended to, again, our executive producer of this telecast, Dave Jevnikar, the crew from Prism Video Group, our director, Dan Demich, graphics coordinator, Doug Jones, our audio man, Roger Spitali, our camera crew, Denny Hazen, Mike Commersmith, John Lucas, and our engineer, Andy Demian. And gentlemen, it's been a pleasure working with you the last 2 weeks. We've thoroughly enjoyed it. And Jeff and I will have some really good words to take back to Cable 9 with us next year with the fine crews we've worked with.
They've done an excellent job the last 2 weeks. I don't think they've missed a play yet.
Not a thing. They've been perfect. 3rd down 7. Big play for the Kenston defense. Long. He's going to go way back. All the way back to the 36. Tyson Walter along with Andy Kuhn on the stop, and it's going to be 4th down and about 13 for Clyde. And we're down to 6 minutes remaining in the ball game.
I'm beginning to think it's going to take Michael Merton a bust punt return before Kenston's going to score.
Well, anything's possible. That was Cudzillo on the stop. My apologies on the sack. Aldrich on the kick again. He's done a super job tonight. This one bounces there. Kenston nearly got it. It's a good no call. It's a short kick and out of bounds at about the 45. Now we got a late penalty flag at midfield. Could be a personal foul against Clyde. So we've got a late flag at the 47-yard line. The kick went out of bounds near midfield. And the clock stopped with 5:32 left in the 4th quarter.
Kenston came close to blocking that punt, and it was a good no call by the official as far as roughing the punter.
Oh, they're saying it's holding maybe against Kenston.
Clip.
And it is.
Clip.
Oh, clip, I'm sorry. And if that's the case, it's another one of those turnovers. And it would be 15 yards and a 1st down by about a foot. This is what hurt them, leading to the score in the 1st period for Clyde. And I did not see the clip. I thought it might have been a personal foul after the whistle.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please.
Uh-oh.
At the end of the ball game,
Well, it'll be a 1st down. And it is by a yard. Clyde's been given a new life for the 2nd time tonight on a Kenston clipping penalty. And this time they can grind it out with 5:32 left in the 4th quarter. And can the defense hold, Jeff? It's not going to bode well for field position with very little time remaining. And this hurts.
You know what? That's a rule they should change. That's a poor rule.
Well, they're going to talk to Mike Knepp. He's livid because he figured the ball was out of bounds and it was a dead ball situation and there should have been no call. And I think he's got a legitimate gripe.
That is just a horrible, horrible call. You know, and here I go commentating again. Let the kids either win or lose this game. Don't cost it on some stupid penalty like this. I mean, you already put the 3 points on the board for the same reason.
That's the first down of the 2nd half. That aided by a penalty call. Now, 3 big penalties against Kenston today have cost them. Clyde really has not been called for anything major other than the interference call on the fair catch. But again, Mike Knepp is just absolutely livid with the officiating in this game, and I think he has somewhat of a legitimate gripe.
It's a perfect example of why most people in Ohio think very lowly of the OHSAA.
Well, to me,
just another example why.
Well, to me, once the ball is kicked, it's a post-possession play. Clyde does not have possession of the ball. They've put it away with the kick. They've conceded to turn the ball over and yet to give the offense another opportunity. It should go along with the rule in the NFL that it's 15 yards from the spot of where the change of possession
occurs. You made a point, too. The ball was kicked out of bounds, so there was no...
Right, the flag was very late. What I saw, the flag came in a good 3-4 seconds after the ball had already gone out of bounds. Well, the fans for Clyde delirious with joy right now with a 3-0 lead and have been given another wonderful Christmas present by the officiating crew this afternoon.
And a 2-0 lead on penalty calls.
You know, Mike Knepp, you see on the screen, livid. And the Clyde players continually getting to the line of scrimmage, wanting to run a play, but Mike Knepp trying to get an explanation from Barney Fife, our referee.
Horrible.
So it's first down for Clyde after another questionable call at the Kenston 48-yard line, and they've got all the momentum back and the wave of fans across the way behind them. 5.5 minutes away from their first state championship. Durham handing off. Good gain. Looked to be, I think, might have been Shagnon. No, it's going to be Long on the carry for 6-7 yards. Down to the Kenston 43. It's a gain of about 5 now. 2nd and 5 coming up. And Mark Lieberth is checking back into the ball game for Kenston. So it's time to roll the dice now for the Bombers. If they get the ball back, Lieberth will have a shot to bring them back. But they've got to get the ball back. 5 minutes to go, 4th quarter. Durham hands off. Chad Long for a yard to the Kenston 42. Kuhn on the stop, along with Werby. It'll be 3rd down and about 4. And the Bombers still have 2 timeouts left. The Clyde Flyers with their full complement of 3. And should this score stand up, Jeff, it will be a state record for the lowest amount of points in the state final in the state. 3. 3rd and 4. They didn't get it. He stuffed for a yard gain as Chad Long, half the city of Bainbridge on the stop on the play. And it's going to be 4th down at the 40. And it's coming down out of crunch time, Jeff.
Surprised they didn't call a late hit. I'm so aggravated by this game. I mean, taking nothing against Clyde, because this is an excellent team we're looking at today. And you know, Kenston's had field position this whole second half, so you can argue, you know, they've had a chance too. But for the officials to make those kind of calls, you can't have that.
Well, it's been done, though, so we have to live with it.
Lieberth will be back in, like you said.
Aldrich to kick it away. The Bombers, Lieberth takes it at the 14-yard line. Kenston needs a field goal to stay alive. They're at their 14 with a first down, and there's 3:33 left in the 4th period. So this is it, Jeff. Do or die for the Kenston Bombers. Their 12-1 season has come down to this. As well for the Clyde Flyers, what a gem it's been. A defensive struggle the whole way.
So with about 3 minutes left to go on the ball.
But again, the good sign is that Mark Lieberth is back in the game.
Right. Time to reach down, Andy. Your whole season coming down to 3.5 minutes.
Both sides on their feet. 1st and 10 Bombers at their 14. And they're in a passing situation. Lieberth straight drop, sets up a screen. Good call, Werby gets away. He's to the 19-yard line for a gain of about 5. Good reaction by the Clyde Flyers on the play. It looked like they had some room. Clock running, 3:15 left, 2nd down, 5 for Kenston as we watch it again.
They're going no huddle.
Lieberth again to throw. Rolling out, puts it up in the flat, intercepted. Picked off by Salazar at the Kenston 34. The ball slightly underthrown. Looked to be intended for right, and it's going to be first down for the Flyers at the Kenston 34. I'm sorry, Thompson, the intended receiver. Didn't have enough of gas on the pass, Jeff, just a little underthrown.
Great interception, though.
And we're down to 2:55. It's going to have to be 3 and out for Kenston to have any hope now. They'll have to stop them, take timeouts, and then they'll have a long way to go and maybe a minute or so left if they're lucky. A first down here for Clyde, and it's the championship. Durham, quarterback keeper. He takes it up the middle for about a 3-yard gain to the Kenston 32-yard line. Eastman on the stop along with Andy Rule. Down to 2.5 left, fourth quarter. Clyde 3, Kenston nothing. And I think the Flyers know, Jeff, a first down, and they've got this one in the bag.
Yep.
And it'll be a wonderful evening to be in Clyde, Ohio tonight. Durham hands off. Chad Long. He'll lose about a yard. Eastman is there along with John Worvey, and Kenston calls timeout. 2:07 left, fourth quarter.
You know, if this does end this way, Andy, I don't know if you can believe I'm trying to make something positive out of the fact that at least Lieberth got back into the game. So, you know, you live and die with your quarterback all year long. I'm glad that, you know, they can't say, well, the sophomore threw the interception and it cost him the whole game. You know, it's terrible that he threw it, but the point is he got back in there, and they've lived and died with him all year.
Well, and it's been a tough ball game tonight. Really no big plays at all. Well played. I mean, other than the first field goal, we could be here until about Valentine's Day, 0-0. It's been that well played. I mean, it's a shame one of these two schools have to lose. I really feel, as I said before, the two top teams in Division III are going at it tonight.
I don't think there's been a first down, a play that's gained more than 9 yards. Can you recall a play that's...
Other than the first drive,
right,
right after the penalty call, when kind of maybe Kenston was a little bit disillusioned on the field because they thought they were going to get the ball. And you notice after a play like that, somebody tends to break it big, and that's been really the whole evening tonight.
They fell long in check here in the second half, only 22 yards.
Well, Durham with the long count trying to get Kenston offside. There's the penalty flag. That'll cost them 5 yards. It'll be third down and about 3 now at the 28. And one thing that Kenston did against Avon Lake to basically get their win in that Snow Bowl, drawing Avon Lake offside, could come back to haunt the Bombers. Now they have 3 yards to go, and I'm sure, Jeff, they'll go for it if they don't get it here on fourth down.
The first 3 playoff games, they've been pretty much penalty-free, and they've been hit pretty nastily tonight.
Hell, the next 2 plays will tell. 3rd and 2. Durham, hands off.
Nope.
Shagnan's got nothing. Kenston should spend their last time out. No, they won't. 1:59 and running. It's going to be fourth down. And about 3. I would go for it. Why not? You can't putt from here. It would be worthless.
They're calling for the timeout. If the official would look at them, there you go.
And 1:50 remaining. And while we have a minute, I'd like to get in our final plug of the evening that this program is being brought to you by Cablevision in cooperation with the Geauga Cable Access Corporation with support from the Kenston Bainbridge community. Geauga Cable Access Corporation is currently contacting townships and villages for funding for your cable television franchise fee. This is a fee paid by cable subscribers each month. If sufficient funding is obtained, programs such as commencements, concerts, sporting events, and other school-oriented programming will be carried on the Cablevision system by GCAC. GCAC is a private entity and not associated with Cablevision. Programming such as this can only be funded by your support and the franchise fee cable subscribers pay each month. If you're interested, contact your local government officials and make them aware of your opinion. Thank you for your support, and in particular, many thanks to the Kenston Boosters Club and Continental Cablevision in Clyde and Cablevision in Geauga County.
Yes, rest. You have no time to rest. Get ready.
Here we go, right off the bat. This is it. 4th down and 3 for Clyde. A first down, and they're the champions in the state of Ohio. Durham, long count. Handoff, Shagden. No, it's a first down for Long. And that ought to wrap it up for Clyde. The ball is spotted at the Kenston 21, and the Bombers can do nothing now to stop the clock. And the Clyde Flyers, Jeff, look to be in the driver's seat to win their first state championship ever.
Yeah, they're not going to have to do much. Are they going to be able to kneel on this, Andy? Or?
What a football game tonight it's been. 3-0 Clyde.
I never would have thought that would be the final score of this game.
Justin Shagnon at 7:27 of the first quarter after a penalty-aided drive, a 32-yard field goal. That has been it. Mark Durham takes the snap. He really never put his knee down. Now they finally drag him down for a loss of 2 back to the 24. 1:16 left on the clock and running for the Clyde Flyers, the Sandusky Bay co-champs. Bob Bishop
very good team.
will have their first state championship, but what a year for the Kenston Bombers. 12-2 Chagrin Valley champions to lose here 3-0, a tough loss to swallow for these kids who we've had a thrill doing the last 4 weeks and had them on week 2 in our Cable 9 telecast. A tough loss to take and tough for us to take as well.
I can complain all night about the officiating as far as those calls, but Kenston in the second half had field position all night. And this is going to do it, Andy.
Yeah, one more snap and it'll be official. 30 seconds left to play on the clock. Clyde 3, Kenston nothing. 3rd and 12 coming up, but it's academic now. The Clyde Flyers will win the 1995 Division III state championship.
That's it. They don't have to run a play, Andy.
And we'll let you enjoy it. The celebration for the Clyde Flyers, 13-1. State of Ohio Division III champions for 1995, defeating the Kenston Bombers in an unbelievable defensive struggle, 3-0. And 2 teams, Jeff, that prided themselves on defense showed us exactly why they made it 14 weeks in the regular season to get here.
That might be the best defensive game I've ever seen from 2 teams. You know, you're playing 2 teams that have very, very potent offenses, too. And to be able to shut down the Bombers and the Flyers offense is amazing on both points. And it just comes down to neither team even scored a touchdown. It came down to the 3 points.
Well, and it was a long field goal at that. 32 yards by Justin Shagnon. And I'll tell you, Jeff, we've been picking player of the game all season long, and I can't pick anybody. Well, I'll tell you, yes, Chad Long, I think, played his heart out tonight for Clyde. Punishing tackles, he made the big runs, gobbled up the big yardage when they needed it. Super game.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
And it's time for the trophy presentation down on the field. And we're going to take it down there and enjoy the presentation, and we'll be back to the booth here in just a moment for the wrap-up.
To the west side, the home stands here at Tiger Stadium, where Ohio High School Athletic Association Representative John Dickerson, assisted by Ohio High School Athletic Association Board of Control member Gene Claus, will now present the 1995 Division III runner-up trophy to the outstanding football team, the Bombers of Kenston High School. Mr. Dickerson.
First of all, congratulate both teams on an outstanding football game today. On behalf of the Ohio High School Athletic Association, the administrative staff, and the Board of Control, Kenston, you've had an outstanding season. Congratulations to you, the players, the fans, and the community. Only 2 schools out of 116 made it to this game. Congratulations, state runner-up, Division III, 1995.
John Dickerson, assisted by the Ohio High School Athletic Association Board of Control member Bob Condon. Bob Condon will now present the 1995 Division III State Championship Trophy, along with Ohio High School Board of Control member John Dickerson, to the Flyers of Clyde High School. Mr. Dickerson.
The Flyers from Clyde, you came real close last year. You were not to be denied this year. On behalf of the Commissioner, the administrative staff, and the Board of Control, I'd like to at this time present to you the Division III State Championship Trophy.
Congratulations to the Clyde Flyers, 13-1 state champs in Division III. Jeff, a wonderful game for them. They came back after losing last year to West Branch, played a super defensive game. They shut out, I thought, which really was the best running game in the state of Ohio, in the Kenston Bombers. Mark Lieberth went out injured. They made a great 4-down stand early second quarter down on their 22-yard line, not giving Kenston 1 yard in 3 plays to get the ball back. That was Kenston's best chance. This team deserved to win the state championship tonight, no question about it.
They definitely earned it. And I really think, Andy, it helps. You mentioned that they were here last year. It helps to come down here and be part of all this. And you know what to expect as far as media, and you know what to expect as far as noise. And you've been here. You know what to expect as far as facilities. And Clyde takes advantage of that, plays an excellent game on both sides of the ball. And, yes, they do deserve it. And nothing against Kenston, but hold your heads up. You got beat by a very, very good football team.
Well, again, our thanks to the fine people from the Kenston Boosters Club, Ed Lieberth, the whole organization, Coach Mike Knepp. It's been a wonderful ride for Jeff and myself, and we really appreciate all the fine people in Bainbridge. We've really enjoyed it, and our thanks to all of them. Tonight's broadcast was brought to you by the good folks at Parkview Federal Savings Bank, Bainbridge, Ohio, 543-8889. The law firm of Newman, Leary, and Bryce, with offices in Chagrin Falls and Chardon. Our good friends at Junction Auto Sales, dependability since 1931. Your best deal for Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Eagle at 322 and 44. Connecticut Water Treatment Systems, water treatment equipment for home and industry. The NV Corporation, printed promotional products, 468-3689. Waste Management of Ohio Western Reserve. At Waste Management, our team has the solutions for your solid waste and recycling needs. The Welding House Incorporated, 524-1955. The Gathering Restaurant, 543-4541. All Trade Contractors, 543-8816. Also sponsored tonight, Precious Cargo Transportation at 543-9272. Our thanks to Jim and Debbie Borer. And the fine folks at the Breezewood Gardens. Thanks again to Robeck Fluid Power Company. Also our friends Rick and Debbie Danello. The Bank One office in Bainbridge. Special thanks to Camp Papiano Roofing Company. Jody and Jim Mandela and family. Go Bombers! Special thanks tonight to our friends in Clyde watching on Continental Cablevision. And where would we be, Jeff, without our friends from the Kenston High School Boosters Club? Finally, Geauga Cable Access Corporation and GTV, local community programming, specifically for Geauga County. So that does it from the Division III state championship game. For my colleague Jeff Cole, our director Dan Demich, our executive producer Dave Jebnikar. The final score, the Clyde Flyers defeating the Kenston Bombers 3-0. Andy Sefcik saying goodbye.